Okay, and we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Desert Farmer Podcast. This is episode 75. 75, hun. Wow. What anniversary is that? Is that diamond anniversary? Do you remember?
I have no idea.
Well, I know 25 is silver, 50 is gold, 75 has got to be diamond, right?
75?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. If you guys know the answer to that question, leave it down in the comments. I'm pretty sure it's diamond. Either way, it's episode 75, and we are back with you guys today after a little bit of a hiatus. So because it's been a couple of weeks, we want to make sure you guys know the ground rules. So we've got a couple of housekeeping notes, and then we'll get to it. Housekeeping note number 1 is what, sweetheart?
If you have a question, if you can just write the word question, preferably in caps, before you state your question, just so it stands out to me and I hopefully don't miss it.
Yes, so Lori's going to be paying attention to the comments down there, so she may interact with you guys a little bit, but that will definitely help her out as we go back to answer your questions, because we want to make sure we do that for you guys here. And if for some reason we skip it or miss it, ask it again. But all caps on that question helps us out.
Yeah.
And then housekeeping note number 2 is give us a thumbs up. If you enjoy this content, this podcast in particular, give us a thumbs up. It helps us not only today, but into perpetuity. Oh, got something in my eye.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a couple of things to give you guys updates on. If you guys are regulars, and we know there's a few. In fact, before I forget, is that Pam with the lime or what is that? Mint green? Pam, thank you for the super chat.
She said
is so sweet. Thank you.
A 75-year anniversary is called a Diamond Jubilee.
Oh.
It is also known as a Platinum Jubilee in some contexts, especially in Asia, while the traditional 75th gift color is diamond white.
There we go. Perfect. Love it. Thank you. So you guys, if you're here with us every week, a lot of you guys are. So you guys missed us last week. Now, we did tell you, we had somebody reach out and ask us what happened, but we were actually in California, and we went to one of Lori's favorite places. Where was that, honey?
We went to Magic Mountain. Not my favorite place. I don't like roller coasters.
No, but you were a trooper. We went there. Went there with the kids, with Austin and Nikki, and it was a great little road trip. Right, quick turnaround. We were gone on Friday, came back on Sunday. But if you don't know this, basically Los Angeles is about 6 hours or so from the farm here, maybe a little more. But and then Valencia is just north of LA. So we took the trip out there, and Nikki and I are both roller coaster fans. Austin is as well. Lori's not, so she was a trooper though. So she went on all but one. So the only one she didn't go on was Riddler's Revenge, which is probably you don't like the upside down loops, right? And I think there were 6.
Not the constant ones.
Yeah. Or
ones that you kind of like almost hang or something.
Yep.
Yeah, that drives me crazy.
Yeah, but you went on all of them. Tatsu was probably the roughest one for you. You didn't even open your eyes, but
yeah, they were closed the entire time.
But you had them. Went on Colossus. This is the first time we've been on it since it was updated.
He gave me a hard time about having my eyes closed, so I kept them open the rest of the time. But
yes,
yeah.
But you enjoyed Colossus, right?
Sure.
Okay. So while we were away, Nate and Tara were watching over the farm for us, and they were deluged. They had a deluge of water. So we got a lot of rain, and it's funny, it started right after we left town. Might have sprinkled on us a little bit doing chores on Friday morning, but for the most part, it rained while we were gone the entire time. So poor Nate and Tara having to slug over here in boots and
deal with our stuff.
Yeah, so they were troopers. We owe.
Thank you, Nate and Tara.
Yeah, thank you guys. We owe you big time. That was wonderful, but it was great to get away and come back. And yeah, so we're back here now. Yeah. And I think there was something else. What was the other? There's one more update we had for you guys. We wanted to. Oh, yeah, you share this one.
Well, today we officially. Is this one I'm doing? The third one?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can tell we prepped for this way in advance.
Just making sure. We actually moved some goats around today to start our breeding process.
Yes. So we actually kind of have a little bit of a breeding program because we have 2 bucks now. And so we're trying to figure out, the best pairings there. So I think we've got that down pretty good. And so we filmed it for you guys, so we're gonna show that to you, show you kind of our process, how we decided who to breed to who and why, and also how the pole barn did as far as allowing us to kind of juggle everybody, because we've got a female we don't want bred, right? And then we have one of our males. Well, that's the son of one of our females, so we don't want those two doing their thing. So we had to juggle a little bit, and actually went very smoothly.
It did.
Yeah.
It went really good.
Yep. So you guys have to see that and see what you guys think of our breeding pairs this year, and that we'll bring that to you hopefully next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, we've got a topic today that came up it's actually come up several times, but it tends to kind of come up a couple times a year, fall being one of them. I can only assume it's because people start planting trees, start thinking about, hey, do I want to add more trees? Do I want to have more space? Do I want to maybe do what we do here and try to actually find some land? So these are kind of going through people's minds over the next few months, especially once it gets nice here in Arizona. And actually, before I do, is there any questions?
Yeah, we got a couple questions.
Oh,
you want
sorry,
to do those
guys.
real quick first?
Coming right back to that. Hold your horses.
With the recent abundant rains, have you turned your water back on your fruit trees?
Yes. In fact, one of the things that we decided to do this October was keep our summer watering program through the month. So now that's not for everything. So our garden beds, our pastures, we turned those off for a few days. So those were off for a bit. We also have dropped back the grapevines, because the grapevines get a nice heavy soak because of the runoff from the house. We have gutters on the house, and those are actually directed into swales in front of all of our grapevines. So when we get heavy rains like that, they really get saturated. So those we turned off as well, just for about a week. And then the garden beds were off for several days. Otherwise, we kept it. Now, we probably could have skipped, but we didn't want to. And one of the reasons why, we had mentioned this in one of our prior podcasts, where we have kind of a change in focus with some of our trees. One of the things we really want from these trees at this point is not so much production, at least on every tree. We want size, right? So we want larger trees. And one of the ways you can do that is feeding them during the fall flush. And so we got kind of an early fall, really. And summer really wasn't all that bad. So we've had a lot of really good growth, especially on some of the newer plantings. We had the black Pakistan we just uncovered today on the back of the property. That has probably grown, about 10 feet?
Oh my goodness.
I would say this year. So
we did 3 layers of cages on it.
Yep, to get them away from the ground squirrels. So it's pushing 10 to 12 feet tall, and it's put on a good foot plus just in the last couple of weeks. So we actually short answer to the question is we've kept our summer watering schedule. We'll do that through the month of October, and that's specifically because we're trying to drive as much growth as we possibly can. So there.
How much rain did you get approximately during that weekend?
So it was about 2 inches, which was exactly what we got about a week and a half before that. So we wound up with about 4 inches of rain over about a 1 month period of time, which is a lot for us. I know it may not sound for a lot of you folks like down in the South. I don't know if we got Daryl here with us, because he's down in Louisiana, but if some of you guys are used to rains like that, that's very uncommon for us, and it caused massive flooding, deaths as well. So that's the challenge that we have here in Arizona. We are surrounded by washes that are basically dry 99+% of the time, but when they are not, and they are deadly. So we had a lot of that going on, not necessarily immediately around us, but in several parts of Arizona, especially out in the East Valley, some of the northern areas where it's common. We got waterfalls that you don't normally see, which was pretty cool. Saw some videos of that. But for us here, we got about 2 inches under both with both of those hurricanes that basically came through. Yeah. So.
Do goats mate with one another for life, or do they not care?
They do not care at all. So, they don't. In fact, we were just reading this because we're breeding our buck a little bit early. So, ideally, you wait until a year. He's not quite. He's about a little over half of that.
But he is determined.
He's big. So he's
big.
I don't want to give away too much, but the goat that we have him in, he's not much smaller. Than her. So, but no, they don't. In fact, as they get older, they can breed a lot more goats. So we have where you're just doing the research. So if they're a year old, they can breed. Was it up to 10?
I think it's like up to 10.
Up to 10 does.
And
if they're 2 years,
I think it was like 25, up to 25
right.
does.
So you more than double that. If they're 3 years or older and it's like, a good buck, up to 40.
Yeah.
So yeah, they can definitely get around. And I will tell you, when we had the pairings today, they're separated, and Jasper was like looking at the other pin, which is basically his mom. It's a little strange, but he was like, I've got this one. He didn't care.
He would have gotten on his mom.
He didn't care at all. He's like, I want her. And then we've got Petals, who we're keeping for now, and he wanted her. And so it's like,
he just wanted anybody.
Yeah, he didn't care. He was like pretty much.
You think of like a male teenager. That's exactly what true. Jasper is right now.
So
oh
true.
My goodness.
It is so true. And Thad is he's a bit quieter, but oh my goodness, you get him going, and don't get in his way. Don't get in his way. He's a treasure.
They're funny.
Any other questions? We'll bounce
why do you want larger trees?
Really, because we're looking for shade at this point, and we're really just wanting trees to kind of block out everybody around us. We've got a house being built behind us. We've got a house being built out in front of us. We have houses. We got 150 houses going in. I'm pointing this way like you guys know what direction that is. That's west. We have 150 houses going in there. And we don't mind Nate and Tara. They're neighbors, but everybody wants a little bit of privacy. So in the end, those nice big trees, they're just beautiful trees. So we want to balance. So we do want to have some production, but that's really it. And fruit trees, I would say it varies as far as their beauty, but peaches are beautiful trees. And so, it's just a nice, big, beautiful tree, and it's what we want. So we want a combination of the two. Mulberries doesn't matter anyway, so they're going to be big. We're going to let them get that way. And that's really why, because we don't need all the production anymore. And we don't mind sharing with birds. We did that a lot this year, and we didn't bother covering the peaches this year. And actually, we were okay.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing with the peaches, we really would try to keep them small because we would fully net the whole peach tree.
In an effort to try to keep as much of the fruit as possible.
Yeah, we didn't have to do that last year. The birds shared, pretty good with us, and
they did. Yep.
Now if we just get bigger trees, and then.
Yep. So we're going to work around that and try to figure out the best way to do that. But that's one of the reasons we've left our irrigation on for the rest of the month. Really, we're down below 90 degrees now, so it's definitely time to tune them back, and we'll definitely do that here over the next week or two. So,
will you have to mow the grass?
So we'll have to mow the weeds. The farm went from being completely barren to green, which is great, but it drives Lori a little crazy because she's not a fan of said weeds everywhere, and they are. Just in time for our fall farm tour.
Yeah, fantastic.
But so we do mow. With the pastures, we don't have to really do anything with the turkey pasture. The turkeys are taking care of that, and the meat chickens are doing a pretty good job of the main pasture. We probably could have mowed that maybe one more time before we put them on there because it's a little tall. But they don't care. They eat all the green.
Yeah.
So, and there's a good amount of mallow. They eat all of the mallow around the sticks, and then we'll come back behind it because we're going to overseed. We'll mow all that down to kind of mulch that down a bit to help with the overseeding with the rye. So, yeah.
Why do you not need the production anymore?
So we had mentioned this, I think it was, I don't know if it was the last time we were here or the time before, but our diet has changed drastically in the last year and a half. And we're very happy with it. It's served us both really well. We're much healthier today in every aspect. Blood tests prove it. So we are not going to change that. So it's a lot more focused on meat, fat, and vegetables. And so we are kind of changing. We have been changing how we eat. We still eat fruit, still in our diet, because we still want that in there. I think it's important. And there's mineral content, some vitamins in those, and some antioxidants in fruit that you're just not going to find elsewhere, in my opinion. So we still want those in our diet, but to a much more limited extent. So it's just not as important for us anymore. If you look at I'm pretty sure it was our last podcast episode. If you don't need to watch through the whole thing. Maybe 10 minutes in we start if you want to kind of see an idea of why we're doing that. Mm-hmm. Anything else?
Is there a tree that shouldn't be planted around livestock besides oleanders?
Because of the concern for livestock. I believe black walnut is one of those as well. Oleanders, also eucalyptus is another one that you generally should not, because those can be a problem. Actually, even sorghum, we grow sorghum here, but for a ruminant, during certain times of the year, sorghum is actually potentially dangerous for them. So there's a few. We do grow sorghum, but our sorghum is there for our turkeys, so that's not an issue. They don't have a problem with that. It's the ruminants that have a problem with the sorghum. So, and for the most part, you're really talking about ruminants when you're concerned with the leaves. It's not so much chickens and poultry. So, but other than that, we have there is some concern with your stone fruit as well. So we do not feed stone fruit leaves to our ruminants either. So that's another one. Palm fruit's not a problem. In fact, our goats love apples. It's in the rose family. They love roses as well. And then obviously mulberries on the other side. So on the flip side, there's some trees that are very good for them, high in protein and other things that are beneficial to your livestock. And so we wind up having both here. So what else? Is that it? Get to our topic of the day.
Yeah. So okay. Just some conversation that I'll read through here while you are talking.
And before I forget, we do have 2 taste tests. That is probably a little surprising. So we'll be talking about that here in just a minute. If you guys can, maybe you've got to guess what you think that is, let us know down in the comment section. But we'll be trying that. And then this guy right here, I'm actually looking more forward to. So that one is, hopefully we get to that today. And you guys can see us do a little taste test here on camera. And if we really get to it, I don't know if Misko's here or not, but we have our last creme brulee from Misko in Slovakia. So we'll see. We got some snacking to do, I think. Okay, topic of the day, right?
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor? Can you bounce over? I want to make sure I keep all the numbers here. Okay, so we get this question or comment. Sometimes it's just a comment, and sometimes they're not so nice, which is fine. We get those too. But a lot of times it's an honest question, and it is over the concern with the cost of water. Fair concern. And again, I think I was bringing this up earlier. This time of year, we tend to see those because the cooler weather gets everybody outside. They get back into the garden. They're planting new trees. They're running out of space. We know just what that's like. 15 years ago, we ran out of space too. So everybody's kind of starting to think, well, can I afford to add these for different reasons? One of them would be cost of water. And then the other one is, can I get out of the city and get some space? Now, we don't get that question or comment nearly as often as we used to. So I think, the nonsense that we all went through in, 2020, 21, that drove a lot more people to be looking at doing something like this. Of course, that's gone now, so that impetus isn't there. So we don't get it quite as often as we used to, but we have some videos up on when we put in our well. So folks that are moving out onto property, they're looking at some of those videos. One of the questions came through on that. And then the other one was just on planting trees and the concern over cost of water, having to water trees, etc. And then the question as to what it costs us. And it's interesting because I think most people, especially if you don't have a well, so you're on city water, your assumption is there's no cost when it comes to well water, which is absolutely not true. So what I wanted to do today is I wanted to kind of talk you guys through what our costs are for water, and they're actually fairly high. And there's some factors in there that can change, and so we'll talk through a few of those. So first things first, if you're going to have your own property and there's not already a well there, you're going to have to dig a well. And we had to do that. Now, when we put our well in 2019, I think it was March of 2019, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I believe it was. So we're looking at over 6 years ago. This was before the nonsense and the cost spikes that we've all seen. So all in, it cost us about $55,000. So that's everything. That's drilling the well, the pump at the bottom, the tanks at the top, pressure tanks, and everything to get water to the house. Okay, so that was our cost there. Now, that cost has basically doubled since then. Crazy as it sounds, but a lot of things have doubled. that is one of them. So the cost to put a well in is now up over $100,000. So keep that in mind with these numbers if you're considering this. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to get a realistic cost as far as what that cost was for us and amortize it over a certain period of time. So I looked at it two ways. How long would we be here potentially, and how long could we be here and all the equipment basically still remain? Now, at the same time, you're going to have some repairs. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. But I'm using the 30-year mark because 30 years for the two of us puts us into our mid-70s. So that's definitely well into our retirement years. This is our retirement plan, but whether we actually remain here beyond that time or not, I don't know. Things change. And, this is a pretty big property for an 80-year-old. So, I'll be pushing that once we get into that time frame. So I figure at the most, I'm going to use the 30-year mark. Okay, so if you use a shorter time frame, we could move in 20 years. I don't know. So it's possible. But I'm going to use the 30-year time frame, okay? So that's how we're going to amortize this total cost. So when I take our current cost, and we amortize that over 30 years, what is it per month?
$152 per month.
All right. So, and we basically paid cash. It took us 20 years to save, but we essentially wound up paying cash for our well. Okay. Now you can include it in your mortgage, but remember, you're paying interest on that. So your cost is going to go up. Actual cost will go up. So ours actually remained at about that $55,000. Now we had a mortgage for a short period of time. You might add a couple grand, but I'm not going to mess with that. So $152 a month, that is to have a well installed. Now remember, it's double that now. Okay, so that's $300 a month. So keep that in mind. So the next thing we need to look at is we have a monthly expense every single month in order to run the equipment. So in order for us to get water out of the ground and move it across the farm, we're looking at about $80 to $100 a month in electrical costs, okay? Now, that really doesn't change much. In the wintertime, it'll go down, but we still have an electrical cost. We have a base cost, and then you have the actual usage. And so it may dip down into the 80 range, maybe 70 or so, but I'm estimating that we're probably averaging about $100 a month in electrical costs in order to run all of the equipment in order to get water up out of the ground and into our irrigation lines. So we're going to add that to our cost. So what does that put us at?
It was $80 to $100 a month.
Right. So I think I estimated I put 100, so we're at what, $252 a month at this point? Mm-hmm. All right. So, and then we have another, which is a big question mark, and that is repairs. Now, small repairs are not that expensive. $100, maybe a couple $100, but over a 30-year time frame, you're going to replace pumps at least twice, both sets of pumps. You're going to replace the lower pump, which is very expensive to replace, and you're going to replace your pump at the top. So your pressure pump, we have a third pump. So technically we have 3 different pumps. We have one in the tank as well. So those pumps fail. And when they do, we have to replace them. It costs several $1,000s to replace. So I'm going to use a very, very conservative estimate to say that every 10 years, we're going to have those pump replacements, which is going to cost us about $10,000. So over a 30-year time frame, again, not adjusting for inflation, we're looking at about $30,000 worth of repair costs over that 30-year period. Again, that could be more or less. I'm using a fairly conservative number, not factoring in inflation, okay? So it can be expensive. Just to give you an idea, our booster pump alone, so just the one that basically pumps the water into the tanks to give us pressure, to replace that pump is almost $3,000. Just the pump, okay? So they are quite expensive. So that's another cost that you have to budget in when you're looking at your actual costs. So I think when I figured that out, what did I put that at per month over a 30-year time frame?
So $85 a month.
Okay, so I estimated that to be about $85 a month. Again, over a 30-year amortization. That's assuming that we're here for 30 years, okay? And all things remain the same. So when I got to the total for a 30-year amortization, what was our cost per month for our water?
So $337 a month.
Okay, so it's $337 a month, no matter what we do. So whether we're watering 2 times a week or we're watering none, that cost is still there. So you guys know that we get into this time of year. For those of you guys who have a lot of trees in your backyard, you're hurting with that $300, $400, $500 expense going through the summertime. Well, that's not so much when you're during the wintertime. So you won't have that expense. We do, one way or another. Mm-hmm. That's going to happen. Now, before I get to the 20-year total, I want to talk a little bit about some of these numbers. So obviously, we use water for our house as well. So we need to have that well, and we're utilizing it for our house. But I will tell you, we use very little water in the house. Mm-hmm. So we're extremely conservative with water in the house in a lot of different ways. Now, we don't use our gray water outside the house. That's illegal for us to do here in Whitman. So we weren't able to do that when we put the house together. And for the most part, we don't do that. But, anytime we can not flush the toilet, yellow, let it mellow, brown, flush it down, right? This one doesn't. I do. So we're all about limiting the amount of water that we utilize inside the house. And, during the wintertime, I don't shower every single day. So, I'll go a couple days without showering, and all in an effort to conserve water inside the house, because we do use a fair amount, a couple acre feet of water out on the farm itself. So either way, when we're looking at a 30-year amortization, we're looking at $337. When you pull that back to 20 years, now most people will move every 5 to 7 years, okay? So if you move out to a farm, chances are good you may not even last that long. We've seen it, where folks have lasted a couple of years. It's a lot of work, more than you realize. But if you're not there for 30 years, these expenses all go up much higher. So what I did was I took all the same set of numbers and worked it for a 20-year time frame. Are you going to go bounce back over?
I can, yeah.
I need it because I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
There we go. So if you pull that back to 20 years, and we leave basically at my retirement age, I think is what it puts us at. 20 years puts me at mid-60s, right? Pretty sure I'd be mid-60s. Either way. So I guess I should have figured that out. I guess I'd be just before retirement age. So 20 years in, if we decide, hey, we want to pull up stakes, we've had enough of this, we're going to cut our losses. Well, that same 20-year time frame, our cost is $415 a month for water. So that is our real cost for water every single month, assuming the same set and percentage of repairs. So it's pretty extensive. So our cost, if you're going to do this again and you were to double all those numbers, you're well over $500 a month as far as your actual cost in order to do what we do here with your actual expenses. Okay. So yeah, it's definitely not free. So we've had a few folks that like
always people saying, oh, it must be nice to have free water.
Yep. So I enjoy answering those. Now I actually have a number now that I can use when those folks decide they want to prod. But the reality is it's very expensive.
Yeah.
So, and again, costs don't go up. Now, all of this assumes that inflation doesn't change, right? We all know what the government likes to do with our money, which is make it useless. Or worthless, I should say. And so every year, everything gets more expensive. And so all of these things ratchet up at the same time, right? So electricity gets more expensive. Now, I know some of you are already saying, well, install solar. Not so fast. So you can. That is true. And so you can offset some of that expense. But don't think that solar's free.
See, it's kind of the same thing. It's like so water, basically we are prepaying for our water. It's the same thing for, with solar panels. You're just prepaying all your electricity.
Yep, and you're betting that your electrical costs and expenses don't go up at the same time as that initial expense. And so this is basically the same thing. And remember, we water overnight. So our pumps are all running all night long, a few days a week. And so your solar panels are doing nothing for you at that point. So again, you'd have to be into batteries. Well, you guys know how batteries are here in Arizona. Do I need to go down that road further? So, so in the end, could you save some? Possibly. But, you have other hassles that you have to deal with and not necessary. In fact, probably not. So that expense is a pretty solid expense. Now, of course, we're doing a lot of things with that, right? So, we have all these fruit trees, we have our animals. Our animals are a fraction of that, but, the fruit trees, we feed a lot of people. We feed families with the production that we get off of this farm. And so, they're sharing in that as well, because obviously we have an income from that. If we do it correctly, we actually have profits that will help, and we do, but we have profits that'll help to offset that. But it doesn't matter. That expense is still there. And if we decide to stop the business, that expense doesn't change unless we just let all the trees die or we rip them all out, which I don't see that happening. So either way, that's the real expense in our numbers, at least. And that is based, again, on numbers that are basically 6 years old. So it's a bit more expensive these days. Okay, I need to take a drink of water, and there may be some questions. Any questions?
Not really any questions. Just, a lot of people talking back and forth, comments. But here it says, pump into water towers during the day. Silly.
No, I'm not sure I understand that. Install water tower?
Yeah, instead of saying, because you're saying that we water overnight.
Oh, I don't.
Use solar and then just water when the sun is up. Efficiency isn't magic. You have to make decisions.
Right. So if we water, and obviously if we water when the sun is up, you have a lot more evaporation, and we don't have that here. So we're trying to conserve water at the same time. So you're right. I mean, obviously you can make those adjustments. I'm not saying that you can't. So if you wanted to try to cut down on your electrical expense, which by the way is the smallest number in there, but if you wanted to cut down on your electrical expense, sure. So you may be able to do that. Just realize you're adding to your amortized expense, right? So the expense over the lifetime of the solar panels, which by the way is not 25 years. They may last that long, but they're not fully productive for 25 years. So anyway, okay. Any other questions, or are we going to get to some eating?
So do you have unlimited well water, or do you have limits, and does your well come from, I don't know what that is, and do you filter, and how?
So we don't need to filter. So our well water is very, very clean. So we have, in fact, we use it, we drink it right out of the taps. We don't have anything. Eventually we'll probably have an RO. We haven't done that yet, but it's hard water, but it's actually very good. And we don't have the chemicals. I will take this route in a heartbeat. We have, obviously. We don't have the chemicals in our water that you guys in the city do. So we don't need to do the filtering that you guys really probably should do in the city. So there's definitely a lot of advantages. I'm not saying there's not. But yeah, we don't need to filter it. Any other questions?
Do you guys have any fall blossoms? My Thompson grapes are spitting out new grapes, which I have not seen before. That's Kevin.
I have not seen that either. Hey, that's pretty cool. It's been a wonderful fall. I mean, we've had, obviously all the rain, so we've had humidity. The trees are just going ballistic. They look fantastic. So that's probably part of it.
When you prune the Pakistan mulberries this year, will you prune it different since you want them to grow bigger?
Right. So we actually, yes, and we actually started that this year. So we've been on this diet for a year and a half, and we started that this past year. And really those trees, the black Pakistans are really, they're there to be big, tall trees. So we've been pretty much pruning them for that from the very beginning. So that's because they're the backdrop to the house. And we already knew there's a house being built right behind us. And so we knew that was going to happen. And that's the reason those trees are there. We've always pruned them for size, not production.
Yeah.
So we'll continue to prune them the same way. So it's a central leader is basically what it narrows down to. So we have a central leader design instead of open center. And that central leader hopefully will continue. They basically wind up becoming like big lollipops, basically, is kind of what they wind up becoming. So you're like your typical large, mulberry tree or maple tree, very, very similar as far as how we're going to have that grow. So, all right. Any other questions? Okay, so I had mentioned you guys as far as a taste test. That right there, I don't know if you had any guesses. Do anybody guess what this is?
I think someone had said pluery.
Okay. It does kind of look like a nice large pluery, but it's the wrong time of year for plueries.
I can't remember what else.
So plueries, in fact, our plueries are maybe a little smaller than that. It is about the size of a small plum. Like the burgundy plums are not. They're about the same size. It is a good guess because it does, especially in the picture there. It really does. Maybe even kind of look like a cherry, I suppose. And would be, I don't know if it'd be the right time of year for cherries or not. It's not a cherry. So, but this right here.
Jujube?
Does look as similar to a jujube. Yeah. And actually, you could have a second set. We've got jujubes on the trees now, but they're not quite to this ripeness.
I know someone had said something about it looked fake.
I know, it doesn't actually look real. I agree. So it's a beautiful fruit. This is a Jersey Mac apple.
We got a fall apple.
We got a fall apple. I think it's great. One of the reasons why I wanted you guys to guess what this fruit was, I was counting on you guys to say things like blueberry and plums, because it kind of looks like that. Obviously, jujube. It's about the size of all of those, okay, guys? So this is supposed, a Macintosh apple. You guys know what a Macintosh apple looks like? Well, that's what that is, okay? It's a type of Macintosh apple. So that is a full size.
Well, we don't know if it's full size. It's full size to us.
Full size to us. And that's smaller than a ping pong ball. I guess it's pretty close to a ping pong ball, right? Would you say?
That is
maybe
why
a little smaller.
We are giving up on fall apples.
But you know what? We got a ripe one, you guys. I was just excited that we got a ripe one. So I'm going to go ahead and talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to go ahead and cut this open.
Yeah, Bochai said, never would have guessed an apple.
I know. Why would you? It's ridiculous.
And we've been kind of watching those trees because we have 3 fall apple trees, and we did get fruit set on it, but it's just a matter of trying to get those into the fall without the birds getting to them, the sun, and everything getting to them. And they're probably a little overripe, so we should have harvested them probably last month, but we didn't.
There's not much to see there, you guys. But either way, so okay, here you go, sweetheart. We're gonna.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Cheers. Here, cheers. We're gonna try this out for you guys. So Jersey Mac apple here in Arizona.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't have the crunch that I like in an apple.
It's overripe, so it's probably ripe a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Or maybe it won't ripen correctly. I don't know. It's very mealy. It doesn't taste bad.
No.
It tastes like a Macintosh apple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Want the other half?
Sure.
Yeah. So we're trying to keep track. We've got a list of ripening. We have a ripening chart for us here in Arizona of all of our different fruit trees. We have a couple times where it's really kind of hard to find ripe things on trees. So the month of March and the month of September. So both of those tend to be challenges because we have citrus in March. So that's not a problem. We have citrus that's ripening in March.
Because then we even got a loquat the last day of March.
We did. The champagne loquat was one time. Mm-hmm. And usually it's into April. But your citrus kind of goes all the way through April, May. You can even get citrus into June. Mm-hmm. But right now, to get anything, citrus is not ready. Besides limes, and I guess you can do lemons, but limes are ripe. But the issue is nothing else. So we've been eating figs this last week, right? We had some bougie figs, the brise figs, and we had something else that we're going to share with you guys now. Okay, I should make sure there's not any other questions before I get to this guy. We're not done with taste tests yet.
Natasha, I think that's her name, from Enlightenment Garden, advocates using micro sprinklers frequently and intermittently, not deep watering. Have you heard of this?
Yep, I know she does that, and she has good success with it. So we don't, and we have good success the other way around. So I think you can choose what you want. Some trees don't do well with it. I will tell you, stone fruit does not do well with that. So and citrus generally does not do well with that either. So citrus doesn't like its feet wet, and you can run into root rot issues with stone fruit. So you have to be really careful with those. She does a lot more with figs. So she does a lot more figs, and she does some tropicals. And so those really do well with more frequent watering like that. Your stone fruit, citrus, things like that do not. So I think it just depends on what you're trying to grow. And she's had good success with it. So what else?
What harvesting do you have coming between now and dormancy, January 1st?
Right. So you're going to see this one here in just a minute. So we do get some figs. I think we had mentioned that. We got these guys here. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. And then we have citrus. So our citrus starts really heavy in the month of November. So our first ripening citrus is a mandarin. It's the daisy mandarin. And that one is typically ripe in November. So, and then that goes through the winter. We have several different citrus trees. All those are ripening over that time period. So, yep. So that's what we're harvesting this time of year.
And I had someone guess Shinseki pear.
Oh.
I think someone earlier had said an Asian pear.
Okay. Yep. That's a great guess. Because that's exactly what it is. And it literally is a shinseki. So I'm kind of surprised you guessed shinseki. So I think it's interesting because we have two different Asian pears. Both of them had a pretty good fruit set this year. The trees don't look all that great because they've got some blight on them, but the fruit set was very, very good on the shinseki. Very, very good on the shinseki. We got a few 20th century pears, the trees much smaller, and of course none of the other pears made it, which is typical. But this one, I was looking on the tree, we got a few dozen fruit on there, and there's always some russeting. If you guys can see that right there, that's where you get like this brown, I don't know, leathery almost, but it's russeting. So a lot of your traditional apples will get russeting. That was very common. And depending on where it's at on the tree, there's a lot of things that affect it. But we do notice that these Asian pears will get it. It's very, very common in Asian pears. But the one I found today, only about maybe a third of it's really got russeting. You can kind of see it there. Not a whole lot of russeting on the back side of this. I'm going to go ahead and cut this open while you guys are there because that was a good guess. Somebody guessed right.
Michael, Misko.
Misko, I'd give you a sample, but we can't get to you.
I know.
You're in a whole other country.
Yeah, so a lot of people talking about like their experience with solar and it working from them or working for them. So that's great. Are you down to 1 time per week water?
Not yet. You want to answer that?
Yeah, not yet. We're still on our summer watering. We'll probably switch down to that probably next month. That will go back down to once a month.
Yep.
Can we start syntropic farming? Everything is costly. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Abid.
I think that's where you have like guilds and things that you grow in. It's just not something that we want to do. There you go. Shinseki pear. You guys can see I cut it up into small pieces, but it just looks like, apple.
Looks like an apple slice. That's really good.
That's fantastic.
That's very good.
Nice and crispy. This just came off the tree right before we got on. I walked out there about 1:45. Pulled this off the tree. It is perfectly ripe. We were trying them a couple weeks ago. They weren't ready yet.
Yeah.
So, wow. Guys, there you go. There's your fall pome fruit right there. Asian pear. Not European pears. This is really good. You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to have another piece of it. All right.
I had to look that one up.
Very good, guys. So we've had both the 20th century and the shinseki. They taste very similar. If you guys have never, I don't know how many of you guys have had one of these, but what's nice about Asian pears versus European pears is the Asian pears are ripe off the tree, just like this. European pears generally do not ripen on the tree. So you typically take those off and you let them ripen on the counter. So usually the European pears, you might be harvesting them about the same time, but you're going to set them on the counter for probably a couple weeks before those are fully ripe. And then they don't always have this crispness. This has the crispness of an apple.
It's perfect.
Very mellow sweetness.
Yeah, Misko, did you save this Asian pear tree, please? We did. We did not pull this one out of the ground.
No, in fact, well, the two pears that we pulled the calmest pear. It wasn't doing anything. So in fact, I just pulled it out by hand.
It wasn't growing or anything.
No. So, bad root stock. There's all kinds of things wrong with it. It was completely infested with blight. And the other tree that we pulled was actually one of our 2 Waddell pears. So we have another Waddell pear that's adjacent to that gets some blight, but not nearly as bad.
Yeah, does much better, does better fruit set.
It actually sets fruit for us. We've gotten a ripe fruit off of that. And we saved our Seckel pears. So the Seckel pears are still there. And then our 2 Asian pears, at least for now. The 20th century pear is really not doing all that good. And they both get some blight. I don't know. We'll see how they do. They had a good fruit set this year, so they got off the list. So they got off of our what list. They were saved. Man, this is a wonderful... did you want some?
Yeah, it's really good.
It looks like a potato, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Even kind of the russeting, like russet potatoes, the russeting and everything. So how would you describe the flavor of these? Not really apple.
No, just a mellow pear. I mean, it tastes like a pear, but just very mellow. It's not like a strong flavor.
Yeah, very, very mild. You can tell there's just not as much sugar in there, which I suppose is good, right? We don't want as much sugar. So.
Have you tried only one tree? I have one 20th century, says self-fertile in inland west climate, but not sure I believe it, but don't want to buy a second one.
Yeah, you don't need a second pair. We had both of these trees on the old farm, but we got a fruit set off the 20th century before we put the Shinseki in. So the 20th century is self-fertile. So the Shinseki, I don't know because we've always had another tree with it, but I believe we got a harvest off of this tree last year, and I don't remember seeing flowers on the 20th century. I take that back. We did get a fruit
century only got only had a couple of fruit last year on the 20th century. A lot more this year. What about our cocktail tree?
Go ahead.
It's doing great so far. Yeah, it survived the summer. Got a little bit of brown on the leaves but
some leaf drop.
Yeah, all doing really good as of right now. So
surprisingly,
look forward to seeing what happens.
Yep. So, but I mean, all the branches survived. So, I thought I was going to have to prune off. I think, speaking of prune, I think it was the prune. One of the types of fruit on there is a prune, and it was really struggling in the middle of summer. So, but I think it's going to make it. Either way, I think every branch is alive. So
yeah, it is. Daryl says that he wishes he would have planted Asian pears instead of the 4 European pear trees that he has.
Yeah, I will say, hindsight, we wouldn't have done the European pears, but we've shared that with you guys.
Yeah. So. Do you plant regular onions? If so, where do you order them from, and when do you plant them?
You plant them now. We only grow the Itoy onions, so they do really well for us. They replicate really well for us. They're kind of a pain to utilize because they're shallots, like shallot size.
Yeah.
So, but regular onions we don't actually grow. So, we grow the Itoys because it's a local onion, indigenous onion for us here in the Sonoran Desert. We like that, and we're continuing that. We sell them. We'll be selling starts here at our farm tour here in a week. So, we're spreading all those seeds around, and so we really want to focus on that. Onions are very inexpensive in the store. So, we kind of take that into account, especially with our veggies. Now, we do grow garlic, and we are trying a different type of garlic. It's a red garlic or a purple garlic. So, garlic's not expensive either, but there's a much different flavor to homegrown garlic than there is to your store-bought garlic. It's because you can utilize it at multiple stages. And so you can utilize it as a green, just like you do green onions. So you can cut the tops off and use them as that. And then, of course, you can use the bulb itself. So, and the bulb changes in flavor. So when it's first harvested, it's very, very sharp and spicy. And then over time, because you allow these to cure, over time as they cure all summer long, that spiciness starts to back off. The flavor mellows just a little bit, so it has a different flavor to it. Onions are onions. I haven't seen that to be the case with onions, so we don't bother trying to grow a big bulb onion. So, yeah.
Where did you order the red garlic?
Amazon. So I did some research. I think it's an Italian red. Was it Italian red? Is that right? Either way, so we did some research online, was trying to find it, and I'm like, let's just check Amazon. Sure enough, it was on Amazon. So, and nice tight little bulbs that we got, and yeah, that's where we got them. I don't know if I've got them in the shop or not. I'm not sure if they're still there because we got those last month. Everybody's planting garlic now, so I don't know whether or not they're still available.
Yeah.
It's hard to find them once you get this far into October.
Yeah. Did you ever see a mountain lion in your area?
No, but had a lot of folks tell us that they have seen them over the last few years that we've been out here. Yeah. And we're next to the largest wash in Whitman. I'm sure there's mountain lions running through there. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
I know bobcats do. We shared with you guys the skunk that we got a couple weeks ago, a month and a half ago. So we get some creepy crawlers that come out of there, but haven't seen a mountain lion yet. So it'd be interesting because Sasha is a beast, so is Maverick, and our next door neighbors have 2 cane corsos. So it'd be kind of interesting to see how that all went down. So my guess is we wouldn't see them coming up to the properties at this point.
Yeah.
Just because you got some big dogs here between us and the wash. So.
Yeah.
Still a concern though, either way.
Yeah. You want to...
Oh, yeah, creme brulee. All right, so is Misco still here?
Yeah.
All right, Misco. Last one, Misco. Thank you so much for these. I have no idea what flavor this is. I don't have my old man eyes on. I'll be right back. Go ahead. Talk amongst yourself.
Well, it doesn't, some of them actually said the flavor on them. This one is not in English, so I couldn't tell what it was.
Well, Misco's here. Maybe he can translate.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
There we go.
Trying those each week.
All right, so this says Stesti, and it's Bez Lepku.
Then you got to read right here because this is usually the cream.
Italski Liskoi? Boy, this is not like Spanish. But looking at it, it looks like it's coconut.
Oh, he said without gluten.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that. So it looks like it's coconut. Is that peaches? Hazelnut.
Just open it. Let's try it.
There's some hazelnut, and then there's a green leaf.
Yeah.
Mint, maybe? All right, let's give this a shot. So these have all been really good. You're a huge fan of coconut, so this should be great.
If it's coconut. We had another one that was coconut.
Oh, wow, chocolate. Chocolate must have been in one of those words.
Chocolate cream.
That's good.
So this is what it looks like. So it's cream inside there.
Well, I don't know what that says. A little note in there. That's good. That's good. That chocolate. Misco, you got those right, ma'am. None of that was too sweet.
No.
So we tried several of these. Been trying them for the last several months, here on camera, and none of them are overpoweringly sweet. So that's just perfect for us. We get regular. We had bundt cakes when we were at Magic Mountain, and they were overpoweringly sweet. I mean, it was like way over the top. And Nikki, she's got a sweet tooth, and she's like, "Yep, this is good."
The nothing bundt cake place.
Yep. But oh boy, it was super sweet.
Yeah, the chocolate cream in that is really good.
That's very good. Boy, I'm not gonna be able to eat the pears now. Saving the rest of these pears till after dinner.
Yeah, is Saturday night a shower night?
Saturday afternoon is a shower afternoon, so yes. This time of year I shower every day because you have to. It's still too sweaty. Even though we get down into the 80s. Now, it's the middle of winter. So middle of winter is the only time I ever skip. And I don't ever skip more than one day. So I only wash my hair once a week, though. Little known fact. There you go. Only you guys know. Just everybody knows now. Once a week.
That's nice of you to share that with everybody.
I agree. It was nice of me to share with everybody. What else? Any other questions?
No.
Wow. Are we going to finish early? Okay, so what we probably should do...
So a lot of comments and stuff in there, but...
Yeah, so... one of the things, I think you can scroll down. I've got extra questions down at the bottom.
Yeah.
Because, we're not going to go to those?
No, yeah, we can.
Okay, so got a few backup questions. We don't always get to these. We actually got all the way through this today. So what's the first one?
The best apple varieties for us here.
Timing is good. It's not a Jersey Mac, in case you're wondering. I wouldn't suggest that. But I've got a number 1 and a number 2. These are all spring apples. There's really only 3, maybe 4 that will grow here for us anyway and produce well. My number 1 choice will always be the Golden Dorset. It's self-fruitful. You don't need to plant any other varieties. It does just fine by itself. It's a wonderful tart sweet apple, okay? We've talked about it a lot here. I'm not going to belabor it too much, but that is my number 1 apple. If you have space for one tree and you want it to be an apple, get a Golden Dorset. Don't bother with anything else.
Yeah.
Okay. Second would be the Anna. All right. Right behind the Dorset. Very, very similar in flavor. Okay. Now we got a nice, big, very perfectly ripe Anna right off the tree this year. It's the sweetest one I've ever had. And it's still a balance of tart and sweet. Right. So I would still say it's that. Less tart than a Granny Smith, but not by much.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, just interrupting here.
Okay.
It's a jelly donut, so Cousin Tony
That's
says
my Cousin
hi.
Tony. Hey, cousin. How are you, man? Oh, that's awesome. It's a jelly. I want to know if anybody else here knows where you got that. I do, so I'll be curious. Oh, how are you, man? That's my cuz right there. Oh man, I'm gonna start crying. Doing really good, Tony. How are you, man? That is really cool to see you here. Very cool. So I hope Rebecca's doing good and Carrie and everybody. I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about?
Sorry, you were talking about apples, and I interrupted you because I wanted to make sure you said hi to Tony.
I want to say hi to my cousin Tony. That's so cool to see you here, Tony. So, so the second one would be the Anna. And the Anna, I will tell you, I'm pretty sure the Anna is self-fruitful. I see different things about that, so I think you can get away with an Anna by itself if you wanted to. But those two trees pollinate and they ripen at the same time. And the theory is those two trees do better and are more productive if they're together. So if you have the ability to put two trees in, it'd be those two, and I would stop there. So the Tropic Sweet, I don't know whether Reed will ever get those again, but I will tell you that one is very finicky. The trees are finicky. We lost a tree for no apparent reason whatsoever. They don't grow all that well, and the fruit set is very, very inconsistent. Now, I will also say the Anna tends to be alternate bearing, so it's one of the reasons it's not my number one pick. It doesn't produce this as heavy year in, year out. So you'll have a heavy year, then you'll have a light year, and then you'll have a heavy year, you have a light year. That's alternate bearing. So they have a tendency to be alternate bearing. I haven't seen that as much with the Golden Dorset, which again is why it's my number one choice. So number one, Golden Dorset, hands down. Number two would be Anna. So those would be my opinions. I would skip the Einsheimer completely. So we've tried it at all different stages of ripeness, and it is not a good quality apple. Not in our opinion, and not in our experience. So I would skip that one, unfortunately, because it's another variety. We've got 3 of those trees, and we're always disappointed in the fruit. So, What was the other one? Or is there another question here?
Well, we're getting close to time, so
okay.
We got. So Tony said they went to Costco. So obviously that's Rebecca. Must be with Carrie, I'm assuming.
Very cool. Very good.
So Kevin said it's a jelly, strange brew.
Boom! Look at that. Ha!
And it's a jelly donut, Full Metal Jacket.
No, but strange brew. Got it. Wow, that's awesome.
What is strange brew?
It's a movie.
Oh.
She's not gonna. Tony, trust me, it's not my fault that she doesn't know.
I don't know.
We were watching the Ed Gein story, and she didn't know what Psycho was, and I'm like, How do you not know what?
I've never seen Psycho.
No, this one doesn't. Now, okay, so Strange Brew, I will tell you, it's one of those movies where if you've seen it, you enjoy it because you like the comedy. Tony and I do. Chris does too. So in the end, there's a thing with that. But it is a specific type of comedy. So I don't know that you would enjoy it as much as
So I would just sit there and be like...
You're like, what? This is just dumb. That's awesome.
Okay, so does planting 2 Golden Dorsets do better planted together?
I don't know. I don't know if that would make any difference. So, I mean, I guess in theory it might, only because you have more pollen that is produced, and so you have a better chance of pollination because there is more pollen around in general. So, and I know that generally speaking, they suggest that with trees that are pollinated particularly by bees, and then trees that are pollinated by wind. So, but these are not pollinated by wind. So they're pollinated by bees, and so either way, bees are buzzing back and forth, and they're workers. So they do a pretty good job of spreading that pollen pretty widely. So I don't know. I can't say for sure, but it wouldn't hurt. I would say that if you have 2 spots, though, I would do a Dorset and an Anna. I wouldn't do 2 Dorsets. So yeah. The Anna is that good. And the Anna, it is a little bit different. The flavor's a little bit different. So if you have 2 spots, I wouldn't do 2 Golden Dorsets. I would do a Dorset and I would do an Anna. Yeah.
It's possible to walk from the farm to White Tank Mountain Regional Park.
Well, you can. I don't know that you would want to. It's quite a ways. I don't know what the actual how many miles it's probably 10 miles. I'm guessing. I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think of the distance.
A straight shot.
Yeah, a straight shot because we're used to taking roads. I'm trying to think of how many roads are between us and the White Tanks. Maybe it's more like 6 miles, 5 miles, 5 or 6 miles, something like that. So yeah, you could walk it. It's just going to take you a while. So, and you're walking through the desert. It's not very attractive.
Oh no, for a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely not flat.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. We good?
I think that's it.
I think we are.
Yeah.
Very good. That was so cool to see Tony here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Tony, you have to make sure you give a hug to everybody. Miss you guys. Love you guys. So, okay. I know we got a few more comments. We'll let these guys go. Let me know if there's any last minute questions. Hey, real quick, so you guys know we have some things that are happening here over the next couple of weeks. So you will not see us for the next 2 weeks. I know, don't everybody start crying and wailing. Don't want to hear gnashing of teeth. You guys are going to be just fine without us. But we have a couple of events that are coming up, and we're going to be spending some time with some folks here on the farm, right? So next week we have our fall farm tour. We might be able to make it here, but we're not going to commit to... Actually, no, we can't. Your birthday. We're celebrating your birthday right afterwards, so we can't make it here.
Yeah, sorry, guys. I am turning the big 50 this year, and so after the farm tour we are going to have a little lunch gathering, and so
so we got some close friends here, and we will be celebrating your birthday after the farm tour. So we're going to celebrate your birthday with, I don't know, 150 of our closest friends. Good deal. And the week after that, we will have our chicken processing. So we're going to be having our chicken processing workshop. We do that every year. So we have that. So we're going to have a great turnout again this year. Looking forward to that. And we're usually thoroughly exhausted by the time that's done. So I don't expect that we will be here. So plan on us not being here. So it won't be until the second Saturday in November that you guys will see us. So and then we'll only have a couple after that, and then we're going to take our winter break. So you won't see a whole heck of a lot of us. So point to that is, we won't be here for the next 2 weeks, but we will be here that second Saturday in November at 2 o'clock Arizona time. That's our normal time. So before then, send us some questions, right? So especially this time of year, everybody kind of puts away the gardening shoes and everything around the rest of the country. We don't here, right? But they're not thinking about it. And so a lot of things, our YouTube channel slows down. Everything slows down. So we don't get as many questions, which is fodder for this podcast. So counting on you guys, send us some questions. You can do that a lot of different ways. You can comment here on YouTube. Comment after. We don't see the chat after the live stream's done. So comment afterwards if you have any questions you want to see answered here as we start to wrap up the year. Only have a few more of these. So get those questions in that way. You can message us through the website. You can usually find our email. It's pretty darn easy. Her name is spelled Lori. Mine is Duane. And you see this, right? So we got that.com. We'll get an email to us. You can message us through the website. I think I'd already mentioned that. And you can find us in all the socials. So we're on Facebook, Instagram. We're now on TikTok. You can message us any of those ways. Lori's phone number is plastered all over the internet. So very easy to get a hold of Lori. Just do it before 5 o'clock in the evening because her phone shuts down. But you can
6:30, but okay.
Whatever time it is. Well, you got time change here pretty soon for everybody. It's going to be 5:30 pretty soon for the folks in California. But either way, send those questions in. We want to make sure this is geared towards you guys and your questions. That's why we do this. And we want to join you here in a couple weeks, okay? So get those in. Let's see. Is that it? I think that's it. Any other questions?
No, just, happy early birthday. 50 is not so bad. We'll miss you. December you take off?
Yep.
Yes, we do. I turned 60 in 2 months.
Hey,
seems like it's taken decades. My body is feeling every bit of 50.
Yeah. You've got the midlife issues. There's no doubt about it.
Anyways,
it's time.
Anyways,
yeah. So okay, we'll see you guys here. It's going to be a couple weeks again, right? For second Saturday in November, we'll see you at 2 o'clock Arizona time. But until then, we just want to remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere,
so can you.
Yep. Bye, everybody.
Bye.